Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing very well. For today's valued viewer requested video, we've got from Blord 182. Does that mean you're a fan of Blink 182 or you drive the Renault Clio 182? I would like to know that. Or is there some other affiliation with the number 182? Cap, have you seen this article about actual cost of weapons in USA Arsenal? And then we've got a link there. The answer is no, but I'm about to. So we'll just do this in discussion format because we've got nothing prepared. Regards modern weapons, as in more, mainly more modern than we even get in DCS. I don't know really anything about it. I don't keep up with it, neither does RC. We've got the stream here who's going to help us walk through it. But let's just see, for interest's sake, the individual prices of various air-launched munitions is an interesting and important thing to consider, especially given how many of them in the US military expends each year. In 2019 alone, American military aircraft, manned and unmanned, employed, 7,423 munitions. I'm assuming they're not including like individual bullets and stuff, but they're still almost too big to think about. That's so big. Various types in Afghanistan and another nearly 5,000 in Iraq and Syria. That is so well over 10,000 units. That's ridiculous. So let's go and have a look at some weapons. Air-to-air missiles. These are ones, AIM-9X Sidewinder. We do have these in DCS. These are the new generation of highly maneuverable thrust-vectored missiles. One thing we notice is that the Air Force gets a different price from the Navy. I don't know if that's because they get a different version or if it's because they, maybe the Navy buy more and maybe that means the unit cost. These unit prices are averages for the entire projected 2021 fiscal year orders for both services, which include lots of AIM-9X2 Block 2 and AIM-9X3 Block 2 Plus missiles, the later of which is specifically for variants of the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter. So the thing... it seems that the world's gone a bit crazy to me. I mean, the whole idea of the Sidewinder, I thought, was that it's almost a cheap, disposable missile that you could just stick on any jet and, on an A-10 or whatever. But now they're £500,000. Aren't we getting to the point where just the cheap kind of throwaway Sidewinder is going to be more expensive than the plane that it shoots down? It seems crazy. And another thing, how does something that's mass produced with basically no profit or probably very little profit margins in these type of this type of sector, I'd imagine, so it's not inflated is what I'm saying, how does it cost £500,000? Literally cost. This is cost. This is not really sales. There's no, I'm presuming there's no real sales as such to a Sidewinder, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm missing the obvious. Maybe, and again, mass produced. They are mass. They come out in the thousands. It's not like a Ferrari where a guy is, kind of hand sanding it and hand building it. It's going to be in a production line. So I'd love to know if there's no radar on it as far as I'm aware. I'd love to know from you guys why this thing costs so much. Why?
It's all about research and development, isn't it?
Well, the old ones had to have research and development, so why weren't they not just... they've not just gone up in pounds and pence. They've gone up in the actual value, if you know what I'm saying.
If you imagine how they have to test these, they have to test them against real aircraft. Even though they're flown automatically as drones, they still have to test them against real aircraft. And I know a lot of them come from like the boneyards and things like that, but they still have a net worth. So it all has to be paid for. And that's why the price is so high. But when you consider that the US forces this year will be spending, their budget is $748 billion.
It's almost something.
Pennies.
So what you're saying, Auntie, is it's a bit like kind of like a drug where the cost of making the drug is pretty much zero, but you're paying for the R&R that went into making the drug.
Exactly, yeah. It's a lot of money when you consider how they have to test these missiles. I mean, they have to shoot down real aircraft in real situations. And so how many times can they test it, you see? So
that's what Auntie's saying, and rather than the $500,000 being for actual, bits of stuff in the missile. So, well, okay, let me know what you guys watching thinks, because... let me know what you think. Sidewinders are no longer... Artie says, Sidewinders are no longer simple, complex imaging, sensors, complex interaction with aircraft HMS systems, helmet-mounted systems. Yeah, Artie, but what you're talking about is electronics, right? And my argument is electronics is cool, but it's cheap, right? You can go and get a sat-nav with a fancy little LCD screen or whatever it's called, I don't know anymore, for $20 from China. Why does these electronic sensors cost so much? It doesn't... I physically don't get it.
The AIM-9X seeker head as well is a cut-down version of the ASRAM seeker head.
AIM-9X. Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah, because an ASRAM is a... okay. All right, we'll just carry on anyway. AIM-120 gets even more stupid at this point. I mean, to me, that is just so expensive for a Sidewinder. But the AIM-120D, advanced medium-range air-to-air missile, so this is going to be the mainstay of medium-range combat, is now over $1 million for the Air Force. So let's say you've got your just what is a relatively old plane now, an F/A-18 carrying 10 of them. That's well over nearly $11 million worth of stuff danging on. And again, like, isn't it like a massive hesitation to actually use them when they cost over $1 million each? I don't know. Again, how do they make something?
I don't think it would be a hesitation on the pilot's part.
Well, it will, because he knows he's getting a massive bollocking if he fires one that you technically didn't need to fire. Whereas back in the good old days, you can just blast them out, right? That's what I would be thinking.
Yeah.
Roger.
There's a new one's just come out as well. It's using the AIM-120 body with like an AIM-9 seeker head, so that it's got a much longer range. It's got much longer legs.
And probably more expensive as well. And it's also, Artie's saying, if you can read that down, captive market, military pay what the market demands. And that's why Israel has their own. It was an interesting thing, because if we go back to my analogy of, complex mass-produced electronics coming out of China. I mean, there is some complex stuff coming. My dad just bought for his house, a kind of camera system, an intelligent camera system that protects his house. It only costs like $200 or something. Of IR it has IR sensors and optical sensors, and this is complex stuff. It's programmed. It's smart. It's $200. Is that because that it comes from a true true free market, true capitalist market, where the whole idea of a capitalist market is you drive the prices down through competition? Is it that you don't have that competition for AMRAAMs and AIM-9 Sidewinders, or I don't know. I'm not going to even pretend to know. Roger. I'm just reading the guy's comments as I go. So that's that. I mean, and another guy said, so what if you have to press the Admiral's doorbell? Because if you've got a problem with your jet, you lose an engine, whatever, and it's an emergency situation, you're going to punch the Admiral's doorbell button where you jettison all of your munitions. Excuse me. You're no longer jettisoning a small amount of money. You're now jettisoning pretty much the value of the airplane, right? Like, an old F-18's worth $10 million or something. The missiles on it are now worth $10 million. It's like, I don't know. I don't know how it got to this. So I don't know. So as the price of new planes go up, like the F-22 and whatnot, which is obviously a very expensive aeroplane, then I guess the prices of the weapons are going up kind of equally exponentially, if that's the correct word. Anyway, that's just my thinking on it. And as ever, I may be completely wrong, but I just, say what I think. So you guys continue to comment. Right, next we get onto some air-to-surface missiles, and a lot of these I'm just not going to know. Advanced anti-radiation. So we've got AGM-88 it's a harm, isn't it? And this is the Golf model for the Navy only, apparently, at 6.1 million. 6.1 million. So if you've got 4 of these on a Hornet, for instance, then they are worth they cost 24 million. More than the aeroplane's worth, basically. 4 of them. And you may have to dump them. And, it's crazy, isn't it? And the other thing is, a lot of the time to save your plane, you need to dump your ordnance, your bombs and your missiles to escape, right? To escape getting in the way of a SAM or in the way of a fighter that's coming towards you. But you couldn't do it now because it's too expensive. Now this actually, we recently did a video, hopefully that video is coming out before this one, about an F-16 in Package Q in the Gulf War. And the F-16 dodged 6 SAMs. But he didn't dodge it like we would dodge it in DCS. In DCS, if we had those SAMs going up, we'd dump our munitions and basically fly away and dodge them safely. That's the safest way to dodge them. However, we don't have to pay for those missiles in DCS. They're all free. And we don't have to pay for the cost of aborting the mission. That's also free. So we can do that. We can do idealistic things. But you can't do that in a real mission. Someone's got to justify the cost of those missiles and all that fuel and everything you dump, and someone's got to justify the cost of mission failure. So he, like a friggin' hero, fought those. I think it's bloody professional insanity, to be honest. He fought those 6 SAMs and beat them through skill, and did the mission and saved all of his ordnance. Big difference between real pilots who have to answer to people, to the public or their superiors, and DCS pilots who don't. We'll never be able to simulate that kind of, we'll never get a bollocking for jettisoning our weapons, basically. Which is an interesting point. Anyone got any follow-up on that? Marty says, pilot more valuable than the munitions, costs a fortune to train. Well, but you get into the point, Artie, where it's now a full load. Let's say 2 AMRAAMs, 4 harms, and a couple of sidewinders. That, in my head, is something like 30 million pounds. It's getting to the point where just the missiles on the plane cost more than the pilot, as well as the plane.
But how long does it take to train a pilot compared with getting another missile out of stores?
I still think it's going up so quickly. And also another thing, I don't know anything about. I mean, what are you going to fire your AGM-88 against? Is that thing that you destroy worth more than, assuming that it hits, worth more than $6 million? If you damage it or something, I can't.
Strategically, it is.
Yeah.
Right.
I suppose.
And that's really what you have to look at.
Roger. So it's not about money. You're saying it's about the winning of the war.
Well, the way that I can equate it to what I do is that if I call in a DC-10 water drop on a fire, it's going to cost a huge amount more money than the actual, putting the fire out. But strategically, it'll save money in the long run because it'll take out an area that might have burned in the first place. You have to. It's a sacrifice. The money's a war is a money waster, anyways.
Roger.
So you have to pick strategically and tactically what targets you.
I mean, a lot of these.
Quicker.
Not all, but a lot of the modern wars, however, have been attritional wars. Afghanistan. I mean, the 80s, the Russian, maybe even the late Afghanistan, attritional wars, where there were where there is the possibility of, where you don't. It's not so tactical. You're just wearing them down, if you know what I mean. And you're firing. I'm just making things out of the air. You're dropping a £500,000 bomb on a $2,000 pickup truck with a 50 cal on, kind of thing. That's kind of where my mind's going on it. I know I'm reading the stream as we go. Okay, guys, well, let's carry on. Anyway, that 6 million just hit me for 6. If you excuse the pun. That's a cricketing term. AGM 114 Hellfire. We've never had any Hellfires. I don't think we're getting. Yes, we are. We're getting them with the new helicopter, aren't we, guys?
Yes.
Finally, something that's
with the Kiowa.
Kiowa, yeah. This unit price is an average for the entire project. It's same Air Force. Okay. Well, let's just take the $70,000. I mean, that's more a bit in my remit there. If you're going to take out a tank with $70,000, that works for me. It's just the whole Sidewinder at $500,000 really gets on my goat when that's so expensive. How much difference is there between an AGM, an AIM-9 and a Hellfire? Maybe there is a massive difference in cost of making it. Okay, then we've got the AGM Hellfire for the Army. So that's the Air Force. The Army is 3.5 times as much. Why is that, guys? Have I missed?
That's weird.
It's weird, isn't it? I was just wondering if it was like quantities. Like if the Army is ordered, say, 100 and the Air Force is ordered 10,000, obviously, well, I would presume they could, if you got more orders, then the company can make them cheaper. That will kind of make sense to me. That's the only thing I can really think. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Then you got Navy. It's the cheapest for the Navy for whatever reason at 45,000. And it's still not that expensive. We've got an AGM 158. That goes beyond our most modern missile in DCS is the 154, I think, the JSOW, at least on the kind of NATO side. So 158 is out of my remit. But why don't we go and have a little look here? So it's the 1.2 million, which is a lot of. Yeah, that's a lot of money by anyone's count. That's, it's a surface-to-air standoff. Is this powered? Yeah, no, it's a £1,000 warhead. Does anyone know if it's powered or a glide? Standoff cruise missile. This has got a turbojet engine in it.
Yeah.
It's got a range.
Yeah, range is 575 miles.
575. So, Jesus, it goes over the whole world, basically. So it's literally So planes are now launching. Are these plane launched? They are, aren't they? So planes are now launching cruise missiles. Wow. A bit opposite to what I like, but okay. Not my
It's
kind
on
of thing.
on the right there, underneath engine. It says
Roger.
the one is 230 miles, but the
Oh,
ER
right. Yeah,
is
sorry, I missed that
570.
operation. Yeah, so serious. To basically go around, go over the whole of England and back again. Bit ridiculous, but okay. So it's 1.2 mil. So just reading from RT, less complex systems integration into an Army Halo than an Air Force/Navy fighter ? So maybe integration costs, something to think about, rather than a quantity. That's a pretty expensive wep. A 158C, which is it's going to be it's a long range version of it, is 4 million. It's quite a lot. A anti-ship long range version. God, why do you need something longer than 600 miles? The short range version is 600 miles. I mean, you might as well just fire them from your runway nowadays over to Russia or wherever you're, China, and just let it blow up. I don't get it. It's crazy.
That's a
Well,
ballistic.
this is one of the reasons they're not going to make any more or restart the production of the F-22. Not only will they have to set it all up again to make them, it's going to cost so much money. And there are so many new missiles coming out that they've decided it's just not worth it. Because of,
Roger, it kind of makes sense from what we're looking at here.
Yeah.
That's still, again, to destroy a target, that's still a lot of dough, right? $4 million. It's got to be a good tactical target, unless my value of money has decreased rapidly, because that's a lot of money. Anti-ship variant, 3.5 mil. I guess a ship is always going to be worth it, because ships must, they're worth tactically and money-wise worth a small fortune. 179, what's that? I've never even heard of a 179. Let's go and investigate. It is a JAGM, a joint air-to-ground missile.
That's the Maverick type, the new one.
Yeah, so it's 5 miles. So this is what we're firing from an Apache or whatever. So what makes this so much better than a Hellfire? I'm guessing it's I don't know, intelligence, its ability to coordinate. It's got a third of a million, and for Navy, again cheaper for whatever reason, for a quarter of a million. Yeah, soon you'll just be putting these on UAVs. UAVs takes off, flies 10 miles, launches them. They travel 1,000 miles themselves, and crazy weapons. Okay, so that's pretty expensive, but that's what it is. Next, we're on to precision-guided bombs. GBU-39, we don't have the 39s, do we? These are the small diameter ones. The unit price for an average...
They're cheap.
Include focus lethality munitions, carbon fiber body intended to reduce the chance of collateral damage, and the B laser SDB. So these are $40,000, which for me is a lot of money. How big are these GBU-39s then, out of interest? That's something we don't have in DCS, thank God, because we want big boom boom in DCS. What's Cap going to be happy with? Puff, a little puff in the ground. Oh, it's still quite big.
It's small. It would probably be, £250? I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's big. I thought you meant small. I thought you meant like 10 kilos or something, but it's still a big bomb. It's 2,000 pounds. It's still a big. It's half of an 82, so it's an 81, isn't it? Bomb size variants. Is it INS GPS guided? Does anyone know? I'm going to guess it is.
These days, probably.
You know what? For what appears to be a very smart bomb of a small size, I mean, the size of the warhead is not going to make much difference to the cost, is it? It's your electronics and your development.
It says it works similar to the harm.
So $40,000 for phase 1, $250,000 for a phase 2, which I don't understand, unless I'm reading. No, it's a phase 2. So that's kind of a bit weird. 40,000 is not actually that bad. Got a GBU-53 Stormbreaker. Again, we don't have that. Small diameter bomb. Wow, 200,000 and 220,000. What's a GBU-53? Stormbreaker. What the hell is this? There's another thing with bloody wings on it. It's a 100-pound intelligent glide bomb of 69 miles. I'm assuming it's glide. Okay. So it's all about getting them smaller and more accurate and longer range, right?
Yeah.
Millimeter
And cheaper, really.
It says it's got active radar homing in the guidance system.
Damn.
Why would it need active radar homing?
And infrared. Or infrared. Or camera. Or GPS. Or inertial. Or data link. Blimey.
Roger.
It's,
but it's still... Again, if they use it to take out a a technical or something that costs a couple of £1,000 with a gunner in it. It's still, you know, an expensive thing to do, isn't it?
Depends what the technical is threatening, I suppose. I mean, how much would you put against a crowd of innocent citizens stood up against a wall?
Ah, this is more like it. A JDAM. Now, JDAMs are cool. They're not, you know, 70-mile cool like those Stormbreakers, but you can still lob them 10 miles or so, or even further. And they're accurate. I guess they're just not as good, right? They're just not as accurate. They're not as long range. But JDAM's 20 grand. Like, if I save up, I could probably afford a JDAM. So you can just chuck them out all day. I don't know. We're at the point now where 20 grand sounds cheap. Is 20 grand cheap for a bomb? Don't actually know. I've lost my bearings now in this
Probably.
world
For
of
a bomb?
in this world of £1 million missiles. So at least we can chuck JDAMs out, knowing that they're not going to be, you know, super expensive. And that appears to be it. So we've got one end to the other. JDAM is going to be 20 grand, and we all know about JDAMs and DCS. We're, you know, fully aware what they can and can't do. All the way up to $6 million advanced anti-radiation, you know, and SEAD missiles, $500,000 AIM-9Xs, and $1 million AIM-120s. To me, it all sounds a bit crazy. It's blown my mind about. I think I need to go and lay down after that. Any final thoughts from my guys or the stream on it? And what the hell are going to do? What are they going to do with all their stocks of AIM-120Cs? Like, only about 3 have been shot. What are they going to do with the other 700? Maybe they upgrade them. Maybe they take them to pieces and upgrade them to the Deltas or something. Yeah, someone's just said, DCS campaign, we have to pay for things. We did actually have that planned, but DCS, as you know, is not going properly at the moment, so we put it on hold. Roger Echo. Does that mean for the JDAM it's the cost of the bomb and the guidance kit? It appears to be just the kit only. Yeah, so one of the reasons it's so cheap, by the looks of it, is that it's the kit only for the JDAM, not the actual bomb. How much a bomb costs? 82, 83, 84? Don't know. The Air Force budget, a standard unguided Mark 82, £500 cost $4,000, so nothing. And a Mark 84 is 16,000. The actual bombs cost almost nothing. So it's all the, like you guys said, it's all the technology and the research, I guess, because the bombs cost pretty much nothing. All right, guys, it was not meant to be anything special. This video, it's just discussion, and I just find it interesting. Hope you enjoyed that, and see you later.